Hello everyone and welcome to the Atelier Nekozuki podcast. My name is Katie and this is episode 76. Today is Friday, May 16th, 2019 and I'm here. As I mentioned in last week's podcast, I had to record a day later this week. Dallas is on some crazy overtime right now, so he was only home for 2 days this week. Like, he came home Tuesday afternoon and then I dropped him off this morning at before 9, so that's why I'm a little bit later this week, is I actually wanted to spend as much time as possible with him, which meant that I postponed recording, but it's been good. Hello to any new viewers and hello to any returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me. Today it is super gloomy and rainy in Cochrane, which is actually not a bad thing. We definitely need the moisture. Although it would be kind of nice if it did clear up, because I'm supposed to be training for a 10K and it's not just rain, it's also cold. Like 4 degrees above 0 Celsius, which isn't terrible if I actually dress for it. But the one problem was Dallas actually brought a cold home with him this week and I'm right on the verge of catching it, so I don't want to put extra stress on my body with the cold right now either. But I'll get a little bit more into that in chatter, actually. I did finish I would count this as a half-finished object. I finished knitting the sock tubes. So this is the stationary sock set from Yarn Enabler. I knit all the way through one skein for both of these. I have quite a bit of the yellow left over, but that's okay because I still have to do heels. These are actually going to match a pair of socks that I made myself, also from the stationery set. I had leftovers that I'm going to use for the heel on the paper, and then I'll probably use the yellow from these guys if I remember which ball it is, just so that it for sure matches. And they were nearly done last week. Maybe I put that was maybe an inch tops. I bound off almost all the way around in Japanese, actually, so like right after I recorded, of course. But there is that little blip of red at the top, just like notebook paper, and the eraser top for the pencil. So these will get heels within the next couple weeks when I sit down to actually do it, because I'm going to do an afterthought heel with short rows, which is a Laura Linneman pattern. It's short row heels revisited, and and I didn't put any waist yarn in or anything like that. It's going to be true afterthought, so I need to actually measure Dallas's foot and then cut the heel, which I should have done when he was home. I don't know why I didn't. Probably because I didn't have a tape measure handy. But those are half finished. They're the most finished thing this week, so you needed a look. Then the other thing I'm working on is another pair of socks, this time for me, and I'm knitting these from a sock blank from Yoriko at the Fiber Art Studio in Vancouver. And these are super cool. I'm knitting them from a snow-dyed sock blank, actually, so it's super cool. It's a double strand sock blank, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I love how the colors are not really pulling, but yeah, they're kind of pulling together. Really like it. I also like that they're kind of matchy, even though they're actually not when you look at them closer on the other side. Yeah, I'm going to do, these are going to be actually the Fine and Dandy socks by someone who I don't remember the name of, but I will be tagging all the makers that I can on Instagram, and also be doing show notes as well on the website with the link down in the description box. So these are being knit on US 1 2.25mm needles, and that's really all I have to say. I did cast on, I do figure 8 cast on for the toes, and for my foot I do cast on 16 stitches. Now that I say that, I feel like that's wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 16. Dallas is I cast on 24 because he has quite a bit larger of a foot. So I've got a much finer taper on my toe, whereas he's got a much blunter taper on his toe. although you can't tell as much. Yeah, it's just, I'll shift it over completely. So yeah, so he gets 24 stitches cast on, and I cast on 16 for me. So using the magic 8 cast on. And then actually for the top of the socks, when I bind off, and that's partly why I do toe up socks and prefer toe up socks, is because I can actually get a stretchier bind off than bind on. It's a shawl bind off that I learned years ago, and maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll get fancy and actually do a tutorial for it, because I do use it in some of my own patterns. I don't know, so I'll keep you apprised of that if I get fancy. It won't be anytime soon, so I'll try and find the info on it actually before that and link it in the description. But the socks and the sock blank are actually living in one of my small box bags. This is some of my favorite prints. This is one of my older style, because the long ribbon tabs. I actually shortened the ribbon tabs because I found that they're too long on a lot of these boxes, and so it's just wasted fabric. Then the other thing I picked up is I actually picked up my Sarafan vest. Oh, and sorry, the Progress Keepers that are on both pairs of socks are actually from Sarah Elizabeth Fiberworks. So I use her Progress Keepers there. And then I picked up the Sarafan vest. So that little Progress Keeper there, the tiny teacup, all the way up here. So I think I knit about, I put it 7 to 8 inches in the last few days. I am finished decreases on this. I'm a little bit short on length, but honestly I feel like it's supposed to be a sweater vest. It's quite long already. And I also feel like it's going to block down a lot. I'm also going to try and get this not to wash out. There we go. That's a bit better. Like it's going to stretch down a lot because it's heavy, because it's a worsted spun wool. But anyway, so I think I'm going to go into armhole shenanigans next. So I do, now I think I do 2 more rows, and then I split, there, now I'm not quite as like pink. And then I split for the armholes, do the armholes separately from the front and back, like, or right front, left front, and back, and then bind off, and then I actually go around and I do another set of the mosaic stitch as a collar around it. The Sarafan vest is a pattern by Nadia Stallings, and the yarn is Ancient Arts Yarns. This is Iron Horse in the gray, and then the pink is Raspberry Gelato, and it's the Merino DK, which I believe is 100% superwash merino, but that'll be in the show notes for sure. And I am knitting it on Chiagu interchangeables and a US 8 5.0 millimeter needle. And the stitch marker on this guy is actually from the Crafty Colon, who is Leah. And it's super cute. It's a little tiny teacup. And then there's actual sparkles in the tea itself. So I really like this one, it's super cute. So I'll move that up, because now I've chatted about it so you know where I'm at. So yeah, that's the knitting that I've gotten done this week, which is actually quite impressive because I've been busy doing other things. Felt like the week of errands before Dallas came home, to be honest. And then the errands didn't actually stop when he came home. But it happens. I'm prepping for Edmonton Fiber Frolic as well, which is May 25th. And that is in Edmonton, obviously. And it's at a community church. I will link the description on Instagram, in the Instagram, and also that other place, the show notes, and that will actually give you the exact address and everything like that, because the church name is actually really hard for me to pronounce. It's like Terwilliger or something like that, which I'm sure is terrible terribly pronounced. So I'm actually prepping a lot of bags for that. And then I have been accepted also into CatFest, also up in Edmonton on June 1st at Grant McEwen, the Robbins Health Center. I'll be on the main floor, so come visit me there. If you don't get a chance to visit me at Fiber Frolic, or come visit me at both, I would appreciate it. If you do plan to come to CatFest, I would definitely recommend purchasing your tickets in advance. They are $5 cheaper, so if you purchase in advance, they're $15. Purchased at the door, they're $20. But check out their website. They've got a bunch of information about what's going on that day and everything like that. And yeah, I'll be there along with a bunch of other super awesome cat vendors, like cat item vendors. Apparently there'll be a bunch of rescue organizations and such like that too. So yeah. And then the other thing that I did last week is I actually went and took a class at Stash for needle punching. So this is needle punch rug hook. Let's see if I can get that to brighten up just a bit. There we go. Taught by Maggie on Instagram. She does a lot of weaving. That's her main job in the crafty world. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I wanted to go take the class because basically I need a rug, and decided that a 4x5 or 4.5 by 4.5 inch square would actually be a lot more manageable to start with. And so that's what I went and did, and now I still want to do a rug. It's super quick. The last time I did anything kind of rug hooking wise was actually latch hook when I was a kid. And it definitely was not with as nice of tools as this. This is hooked with Briggs & Little, and I don't remember what base, but I think it's the Air and Weight. So yeah, I really like it. I want to steam it just a bit to kind of like settle it nicely, and because it's a little bit squishy, but I like it. So I took that class with Caroline, and that was a lot of fun. I don't take a lot of crafty classes. I don't actually get an opportunity to a lot because I end up vending at a lot of these events. And so it's nice to be able to take them outside of the events actually. So it was a really good class. And then yeah, it really was a whirlwind week. Like I said, it felt like a lot of errands. I didn't end up sitting down to sew a lot until the weekend. And then the sewing was actually kind of frustrating. I think I mentioned this last week that what I've been trying to accomplish recently has really pushed my technical abilities to the point where I'm going to set it aside for a bit and come back to it when I've got a little bit more time to concentrate on it specifically. There's other items that I know I can produce now that are still new that will actually fill a gap that I need to fill in the company. I haven't quite got enough done yet to show you, but I will. I want to have them ready to launch at CatFest for Edmonton, if not just before. I'm working on a bunch of new knot bags. Come here, baby. Oh. This is Kitten. He was coming to visit, and if I didn't pick him up, he was going to knock the tripod over. Oh, he's got big purrs today too. So this is Flynn. This is one of the quality control inspectors, and if you've been watching for a while, you will notice he has grown substantially. He is a Norwegian forest cat, so he should be growing, and he is 2.5 years old. And still got like 2.5 more years left. He's going through social maturity right now, so he's being an absolute jerk to Dahlia, especially because Dahlia is dominant in this household, and he's stubborn, and I don't know who's going to come out on top, but no one's lost an eye yet. So that's the story I'm sticking to. He does actually get put in times out though when it gets really bad, because it's not fair to anyone in this household, including us and the cats. So anyway, I am completing a bunch of new knot bags for Edmonton. They were super popular last year throughout the year, so I wanted to make sure that they were well stocked, and so I'll be introducing a bunch of new prints through that as well. I will show them all on the podcast next week because they'll be completed then, because I'm leaving for Edmonton on Friday, so they better be. And yeah, so realistically, there's not a lot else to chat about. Yeah, just I hope I'll see you at either of the Edmonton events, and I will chat with you on Wednesday for sure next week. I'll make sure I record before I actually head up. So have a fantastic week crafting, everyone, and I will chat with you soon. Bye.